day 574 of the Trump administration, and a new day brought the release of another surreptitious recording by Omarosa, along with increasing signs that her book and subsequent allegations and recordings have ignited this president. Omarosa Manigault-Newman says the recording we're about to play for you here illustrates an attempt to silence her after she was fired from the White House staff in late December. New York Times is reporting tonight that these recordings have the attention of the White House. Quote, the tapes of Ms. Manigault-Newman's private conversations with Mr. Trump and other officials connected to him have rattled the White House in a way that few things other than the special counsel investigation into possible campaign collusion with Russia have. Mr. Trump's aides have been concerned that they will make appearances on other tapes, of which Ms. Manigault-Newman is believed to have as many as 200. This latest recording is of a conversation in December 2017 between Omarosa and Donald Trump's daughter-in-law. That would be Lara Trump. She's married to Eric Trump, and she is an advisor to the Trump 2020 campaign. Omarosa chose to share these 4 excerpts from a recording of a longer conversation. It's important that we let you know that NBC News was allowed to listen to the recording in full to confirm that the clips are indeed in proper order and in context. In this audio, Lara Trump refers to an article posted the day before that suggested Omarosa had damaging information on Trump.
Listen, obviously with like the New York Times article and stuff, it's
what's the New York Times article?
The one that it was in the New York Times today. I guess you did with Maggie Haberman, or they wrote about you. It sounds a little like obviously that there's something you got in the back pocket to pull out. Clearly, if you come over as a campaign, like we can't have, we gotta.
Oh God, no.
Everybody's positive, right? So the only thing that we have to consider when we're talking salary as far as the campaign is concerned is that, as you know, everything is public. And all the money that we raise and that pays salaries is directly from donors, small dollar donors for the most part. So I know you were making $179 at the White House. And I think we could work something out where we keep you right along those lines. Specifically, let me see, I haven't even added up the numbers, but we were talking about like $15K a month. Let me see what that adds up to. 12. Yeah, so that's $180,000. Does that sound like a fair deal for you? In terms of your position specifically, I really feel like your position would require, you to be able to be flexible in terms of where you are. Sometimes, come to New York for occasional meetings, but I would love if you could, occasionally go do speaking engagements and that sort of thing for us. I think you'd be awesome doing that. So it doesn't really matter where you are. If you're comfortable staying in D.C., then, we're more than happy to have you.
Lara Trump responded to that with a statement that reads in part, quote, we still wanted her on our team because we cared so much about her personally. That's why I reached out to her to offer a position with the 2020 Trump campaign before we knew anything about the gross violations of ethics and integrity during her White House tenure. Another of Omarosa's bombshell tapes is a fraud. Earlier on this network, Omarosa told our colleague Craig Melvin how she interpreted that conversation.
I saw this as an attempt to buy my silence, to censor me, and to pay me off $15,000 per month by the campaign.
You saw this as hush money?
Absolutely. He thought he could dismiss me. He thought, that I could be disposed of. But Donald Trump is wrong.
Vanity Fair has posted a piece indicating the president is willing to go to great lengths to stop Omarosa. Quote, Trump told advisors that he wants Attorney General Jeff Sessions to have Manigault-Newman arrested, according to one Republican briefed on the conversations. Here's how she responded to that.
Are you concerned at all about being arrested?
Well, what Mr. Trump does will be brought to light. Every action that he takes against me jeopardizes him and his presidency. So I think that you should watch his behavior and how he's unraveling. And I don't have any fear.
You're going to release more tapes?
If I need to, I'll do what I have to do to protect myself. I am not going anywhere. I'm not going to be bullied. I'm not intimidated. And I'm going to go toe-to-toe with him. Donald Trump has met his match.
So that gets your attention. The Republican National Committee has now gotten in the game. Today, the RNC released a greatest hits video designed to remind all of us about the warm and passionate feelings Omarosa once held for Donald Trump.
His policies affect my community where I live in Los Angeles, and that's really why I stand by him.
And I believe that you will see that this president is going to be incredible for this country. And I am excited about what's happening with this administration. I'm very honored to be a part of it.
He was the right choice for America.
When I say Trump train, I want you to say choo choo. Y'all ready? Trump train! Trump train!
There was a link to that video today on the Twitter feed of the President of the United States, along with this quote, "Thank you for the kind words, Omarosa." We have said it before just this week, and this bears repeating. Those who dismiss any or all of this fracas as some kind of dust-up between a former reality show host and a former reality show contestant may be making a huge mistake. Omarosa is weaponized. She plays by Trump's rules, and she has tapes. Here is how one veteran observer summed it all up last night on NBC.
So after Trump's public praise of Vladimir Putin, his attorney general's meetings with Russians, his campaign chairman's money laundering, his deputy campaign chairman's tax fraud, his personal fixer's secret shell company, his national security advisor's lies to the FBI, his son's attempt to get dirt from a foreign adversary, and his son-in-law's secret back channels with that adversary, the person who could end up taking down the president of the United States is Omarosa.
With that, let's turn to our leadoff panel on a Thursday night. John Heilman, MSNBC national affairs analyst, veteran political journalist who happens to be co-author of Game Change and Double Down. Kimberly Atkins, chief Washington reporter for the Boston Herald, and Ashley Parker, Pulitzer Prize-winning White House reporter for the Washington Post. Ashley, I'd like to begin with you, having laid out all of that exposition, including the political science as delivered by Seth. How central, how pervasive is this topic, this cloud in that White House?
It's dominated the White House this week in the same way it's dominated the news. This was something the White House was initially hoping to avoid. They thought they could get the president not to engage on her book. But I have to say, even before the book came out, even before this all exploded, people in the White House were nervous about what Omarosa had. And they were reaching out to White House reporters who they thought might have seen excerpts from the book in advance with that most Washington of questions. Is there an index and am I in it and how bad is it? And that was before they knew she had tapes. So now that she has tapes, it's become an issue that, as we can see, is consuming the president, and some of her charges, especially saying that she has information that the president knew about WikiLeaks before anyone knew about those WikiLeaks emails. Again, we don't know if this is true or not, but could be incredibly explosive and problematic for this White House.
John Heilman, it was fashionable in these circles about 3 months ago to say things like, of all the cases we've seen, of all the people we've seen flip, it's the Cohen case in New York that's going to be pivotal. Does our friend Mr. Myers have it about right that this trove of recordings and how they come across, this Trump-trained professional communicator, this could be the one?
Well, it depends a lot on what's on the tapes,
You
obviously.
look skeptical.
Well, it depends a lot on what's on the tapes.
Okay.
So, are there really 200? What's on them? Anybody in the White House, we've talked over the course of the last 18 months about things that have freaked out the White House. And one of the things that freaked out people, you'll recall this reporting, was the sudden fear that some people were wearing a wire in the White House, right? It's very similar. There's an analogy, a parallel to that. And I think, it obviously puts the fear of God into people to think that there's a bunch of tapes out there. They all had contact with Omarosa of one kind or another. A lot of them talked on the phone with her. A lot of them met with her in rooms a lot less secure than the Situation Room, which she also apparently taped in with the chief of staff. So they're all freaked out about what might be out there. Look, Michael Cohen, it seems to me, is closer to potential crimes that the president's family, the president, people around the president may have committed. And in the end, those crimes may be more consequential. But there is no doubt that the pompous stuffed shirts among us, in the same way as people minimized Stormy Daniels and Michael Avenatti at the outset and said, it's a porn star and some cheap hustling lawyer from L.A. It turned out that the porn star was more relatable to a lot of people in America, and the cheap hustling lawyer, I put that in quotes,
just spoke in Iowa. He's running for president.
He's maybe running for president, and certainly was able to do what she is doing to him now. They are perfect analogs. He plays the game the way Donald Trump does. That is what has triggered Trump so much, is that he looks at these people and they get the dynamics of modern media. She understands. I'm not sure she understands how to sell books, but she does know the power of tapes.
And one note from a friend of mine who's a former Fed, for anyone who's been a reporter in New York or bought a tabloid newspaper, the new Wire is an iPhone. Yeah. The Ravenite Social Club where Gotti hung out, all someone had to do is bring an iPhone into that room. So I wanted to point that out. So Kim Atkins, the question keeps being asked, what is the president so afraid of? What has the president got to hide?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest open question here. And I know you sort of dismiss the reality TV angle of all of this, but the thing that's important about that is Omarosa comes from the same place as the president, that mix of politics and reality television. She knows how to tease out something for maximum effect. She's going to keep dropping these recordings, whatever she has, bit by bit to keep her on television, to keep her book in the headlines, because she knows how to sell the exact way that the president does. So is there some there that's going to be her big finale, a big reveal at the end? Quite possibly. And it depends on what that is, that will explain why the White House is so concerned about it. But the concern itself is evidence that Omarosa was present when people were talking about want to be made public, whether it was something illegal or something that would be proved damaging to his presidency, we don't know, but it's something there, or else they wouldn't be this disturbed. They wouldn't be keeping, the security clearance revocation of a former CIA chief in pocket to sort of lob out as a flash bomb to divert attention. It's an awful lot of reaction from this White House for there to be no there.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.